Alright, another fake Sagan and Anticontavad surprise video. You mix the shit together. You get double shit, yeah. Unfortunately, it just kind of works out that way. But really, the argument isn't. It's just an argument from somebody else's aggrandized story of reality versus my story of reality. You know, and they're just not compatible fundamental stories. So if we're to, I like metaphoring it as a game because that's sort of what it is. It's something you understand. It has pieces, it has players, it has rules about how things move and what happens in the interactions. It's describable what's happening here on Earth. So the on the surface of the Earth game, and you describe that, and it's kind of simple to describe. Like chess, it has a simple plan. Okay, you know, stuff wins and stuff loses, and you know, so you could just metaphor the real battles that things have with each other as, you know, the process of getting up to your adversary or the thing that's threatening your existence and knocking it over and saying, checkmate, I win. But when you win, there's no wonderful thing that happens. There's no extra thing. You just get to stand there and say, I win, until something sneaks up behind you and checkmates you. So it's like everything's getting checkmated. Everything's going to get knocked over and wiped off the board. And how it gets wiped out is kind of important too. But it's all a bunch of... There's damage in the gladiators, and then there's the damage created by the fact that the gladiators throw their swords into the crowd and kill them too. I mean, everybody dies. And so, you know, right now I'm cutting the fingers off of some guy in China to have cheaper shit. You know, right now some guy's getting his lungs ruined to make electricity. You know, right now some family's getting wiped out on the highway by a truck driver who hasn't got enough sleep, so yeah, I can get something cheap. All the time, this is the price being paid for this. I'm making a video. It's worth killing people to have a video. That's the fact. That's the game we're playing. And what makes it even worse, like if that isn't bad enough, the game affects the future. So every time we do something, we can do something so really stupid, like leaving rakes that'll hit people, you know what I mean? Except they're not rakes, they're, you know, spiked, you know, blogging devices or whatever you want to call them, the bongtukis or something. You know, and we're throwing them out there and they get covered by leaves, and then the future will step on them. You know, so it won't happen. The people won't get collaterally damaged now, you know, just in this world that we've created. They're going to get collaterally damaged in the future too, and the future could be a long time. And so that collateral damage is, it's kind of like the landmines from, you know, the Vietnam War, you know, blowing little kids' legs off today, that kind of shit. It's just disgusting. But yeah, that's what we've done for the future, is we put a whole bunch of landmines in $20 trillion worth of debt, global warming, all kinds of landmines to blow up collateral, to make collateral damage in the future, just to make this all that much more charming as a game. Just so you understand how the game is played, everybody doesn't get a clean seat. Their seat has all the shit from all the previous users all over it. So the future just ends up sitting in shit. And especially since the Industrial Revolution, it's so much easier for us to collaterally damage the future. So we do it like a bug would. If you gave bugs power, they would, you know, make the world filthy with their waste. And we're not any better, apparently. With these big brains, we can't, you know, sensibly control that symptom of our power. Can't realize that we should be a little better. We should do better than that. So anyway, it's a simple to describe game, and there's just no room for this optimism, no room for any kind of like I said, there's no explanation of anything magical happening here. It's like these people. If I said there was a planet where there's two organisms, and the two organisms basically live to lay eggs inside the brain of the other organism, so they're just mutually thriving based on the idea that they're going to, slowly have their young consume, their adversary life form, their competing life form. And they're just in a perfect symbiotic relationship, where everyone's guaranteed to be eaten alive by maggots. And they just drive by and they say, gee, isn't that interesting? And I drive by and say, doesn't that need a nuke? Now. Like immediately. And there, that's the end of the, isn't that the end of our disagreement? I mean, what else is there to say? You're saying there's something about this stupid moronic game knocking the king over. Yay! And it's worth it. How? I can't for the life of me figure that one out. Nope, it doesn't make any sense. And so I could make it even more poetic in the sense that I could add, little fun words like fairness and earn and deserve and merit, and say deserve has nothing to do with it. Right? It's a Clint Eastwood line. Of a tragic character, right? So let's not be fooled that we would like deserve to have something to do with it. This is what makes it ludicrous, is that deserve doesn't have anything to do with it. And the modifications by our civilization somehow aren't making more of this about deserve. Now the only place they do that, of course, is in sports. They want deserve to have something to do with it. They want earn and merit to be important. But in every other function that might be important, no, it's inheritance. Yeah. Luck of the draw. Let's deserve, what's that? No, let's not mess with that. Let's not have a rational reward and punishment system. Let's punish the good and reward the bad. Let's feed AIDS and starve penicillin. Just completely backwards. So that's I'm just saying you can make it more of a human thing, make it less just animal organism. But I'm just saying even the human part, even the part we claim to be civilized, is nowhere close to civilized. Yeah, pretty much. It's Trumpulated. Yeah. So anyway. So Fake Sagan is supposed to be making a couple of points in this video, a couple of new profound arguments. Apparently one of them is there's no way to fix any of this, so we don't bother trying. Isn't that the way it works? Something like that. That minimizing isn't even wouldn't be a rational strategy. Minimize the damage. Minimize the capacity for collateral damage. Don't make slaves that are capable of being enslaved. Yeah, sort of makes sense. Yeah, reduce the number of victims by putting less people in the stands, putting less gladiators on the field. It seems to me that would make sense at a minimum. But clearly, I would also argue that I can end the game. It's not as complicated as these people would like to think. So anyway, so I did read one comment here about extremophiles and all that kind of stuff. And extremophiles are interesting, but they all have Achilles heels. They can withstand 4 million degrees below zero. But if I put them in air that's 85 degrees with 85% humidity, they die in 15 minutes. It's that kind of thing. The turtle's shell is really good for certain things, but in other ways it'll get you drowned. You'll drown in 3 inches of water. That kind of thing will happen. So, but anyway. So I guess that's one of his arguments, is that this all can't happen. I mean, it's tedious to play the videos just because, you know, fake Sagan premises with all this evasion. You know, just, I never said the future doesn't exist. I was pretty clear in what I was saying. I'm saying that the effect of what you're doing is to do that. I mean, if I make a thought experiment and I say I'm going to go in space and torture a bunch of people on a planet, and then you say, well, no, it's not torture because they're all masochists. Yeah, that's playing a word game, okay? That's just evading the subject. And if you're going to evade it that hard, it's essentially saying, I will not accept the existence of something called torture. And that's clearly what you're doing. You're evading its existence. And then you did it again when you sit there and use this little number game, like zero some kind of way. Because there's a zero, it negates the negativeness of -3. All of a sudden, -3 isn't negative anymore, because there's a thing called zero, and that's illegitimate. So because zero is illegitimate, -3 is now some kind of +3 of some kind. You know, it's just, obviously you wouldn't be working this hard at it if you were just not trying to negate it. And then you made this stupid argument about how, you know, what we're doing is so much more alive than what those future people will do. Their existence, oh yes, okay, I'll now concede they exist, but their needs can't possibly trump ours because they're not going to be nearly as alive as we are. What? You know, they're going to like sitting in our shit because they're masochists. You know, they'll just come up with some kind of bullshit. They're going to really enjoy sitting in our shit. No, they're not. But anyway, so I guess that's I'll play some of this. Just, you know, I don't know what to do with it because it's like it's just tedious to listen to this crap. It's just such tripe. And you're just like, oh, what next? What stupid argument are they going to make next that has nothing to do with the subject? Of, again, you either accept the description as described of the reality, or you don't. Okay, fine. You don't accept that there's collateral damage. You don't accept that it's non-consensual. You don't accept that our accomplishment, I knocked over the king, isn't good enough for the amount of dead bodies we leave behind to accomplish it. You know, it's just no fucking point in it. And all in the end just to be one of the victims in the end anyway. I mean, I've made this argument before, but all these life lovers talking from the position where they haven't died yet. They haven't had their taste of the average death, you know, the average 6 months of degrade and what's the word they use? Always liked it. Wasting, yes. They haven't wasted yet. So, you know, but yeah, they know it's going to be worth it. That, you know, a little bit of, so I have to pay a nickel at the end, you know, to get out. I have to pay a little bit of a toll to get off the highway. No big deal. Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but it's no big deal.
What I claimed is that suffering is defined by our choice to some extent.
Right. Well, I'm just saying that I can't make any sense out of it. I've explained that I'm a conscious being. I've lived a life, and I certainly know that, you know, the pain you feel in experiences, it's nothing. You know, you're going to tell me that you choose to feel a broken leg. You know, you choose to, like, have a stroke or something and be terrified about the next couple of days of your life, what's going to happen. I mean, it's just silly to convert real threats, real horror, and real physical pain into some trivial thing that you, with your power mind, can turn on and off. Well, maybe you have such a key. I don't. I can't imagine such a key. I have no sense of it. I've seen nothing that looks like one. So, yeah, you're just talking leprechauns to me. And I'm the one, obviously, that fell out of somebody's vagina, and I wasn't asked, or none of this stuff took place. So, unless you're going to make sure everybody has your magic keys, you you're still out of luck in terms of making an excuse for the game. If you want to say some of the chess pieces are immune to the harm, go ahead. I'm still going to defend the rights of the ones who aren't immune to say, fuck you, play with yourself. Don't play with me.
The way we subjectively interpret our experiences can define them as either pleasurable or painful. But that doesn't mean...
Subjective interpretation can define them. Again, they're defined by the experience. So again, you want to just keep pretending the experience has nothing to do with the experience. Go ahead. I'm just saying, knock yourself out. It's incomprehensible mush. You want to call that something other than incomprehensible, silly, evasive mush, then fine. But that's all I see. I just see a silly, stupid word game to pretend that all the anguish and pain and suffering and whatever that has been endured by the substance of the human race, you're just trivializing it. That's all you're doing. You're attempting to make it nothing. It's just, you got your switch in the wrong position. If you don't like being, if you don't like being in a car accident and, having your chest crushed, and, slowly gasping for your last breath. If you don't think that's a good time, you're some kind of an idiot. You didn't turn your switch the right way. Fucky Yui. Hardy. Till deady.
The pain is any less bad.
Well, I just said that, but you're just contradicting yourself. You can't say, I'm not saying it's any less bad, I'm just saying it's completely perceptual and easily subjectively manipulated to not exist.
That doesn't mean that suffering is a good thing or that suffering doesn't exist. It just...
Well, again, you just did. You can pretend. I didn't play a word game by saying that everybody on Torture Planet was a masochist. That's not a word game. I didn't play a word game when I attempted to say -3 is somehow more than 0. Yeah, that's not a word game. Yeah, it is.
This means that to an extent suffering is a choice.
Well, again, that's your perception. I don't see anything choicey about it whatsoever. There's, I could go through the list. The only ones that are a choice is when you're watching somebody else suffer. Yeah, you can choose to be an asshole. You can choose to have no character. You can have no depth of imagination and say, I can imagine other feeling things being tortured with it not bothering me. I'm sure you can do that, but would I want to be able to do that? Would I want to have a brain so configured that the only pain that mattered would be my own? I don't think I would want such a configuration.
You also accused me of saying that the Orthodox Christians do not believe.
Well, I'll accuse you of a lot of things on Orthodox. This is the silliest kind of argument, right? It's like the polluted Puritan. I'm a polluted Puritan, or I'm a reformist, modified Orthodox. Yeah, sure you are. It's a contradiction. Not very smart person.
Believe in pain. And Gary, you know that I never said that.
No, what I know is that I said it, you see. And then you ignored the part where I talked about pain, and all you did was quote mine and say all I was talking about was heaven and hell. No, I was using heaven and hell as an example of how even the religious people are conceding the existence of torture, because hell would mean nothing if it wasn't a bad thing, that torture was real, and that rewards are real. Reward and punishment, these are real concepts. That's all the argument was for, and the real argument was, it's directly stated, I will give women pain in childbirth. It wasn't a present. It wasn't a reward for what Eve did. Oh, I'm going to give all women pain. He wasn't saying, because Eve did a great thing. So it's a nonsensical to sit there and argue that religion, your own religion, doesn't understand the concept of the negativeness, the badness of it. It's a whip. It's not a reward. We're not, God isn't presuming we're masochists and we enjoy pain. He should know, shouldn't he? If we're all masochists, he should be aware of that. Wouldn't he be aware of that? So don't tell me you're not just playing a word game.
And everybody who watched my videos also...
Right, exactly. Everybody who watched his videos, again, insert in here his convoluted effort to negate the existence of the meaning of suffering. And then I pointed out, well, how can it have no meaning if everything in the Bible uses suffering as the weapon? This is what you're going to get. You're going to get suffering if you're not obedient to God. It's the clear message. Crime doesn't pay. And the reason why it doesn't pay is because I'm going to punish you.
Also knows that I didn't say that. So this seems very disingenuous.
No, you seem like a preposterous, manipulative, lying piece of crap to sit there and defend your convoluted efforts to deny what was actually stated overtly. Torture planet, not masochist planet, torture planet. So, you know, this is just such weaselly behavior. But again, back to the grounding. Always go back to the grounding. What does this have to do with my accurate description of what's happening on planet Earth? There's no leprechauns. The animal organisms are just genetic code that creates weapons. And everything about us is just the weapons to protect a genetic code. So it can go into the world and conquer it. And that's what's happening. Each piece of DNA is in the game for itself, and it has this and everything that I am, the skin, the bones, the brain, the organs, is all there to do one thing, and that is protect the seed. And that's all the game that's being played. It's a stupid, crude, dumb game. And nothing you have said have made it have provide any evidence that it's anything other than that, except for the delusions in your own brain that you're somehow winning. Alright, we'll do a little anaconda vod. But again, see, the rewriting of history, I mean, it's just so irritating to, you know, why, you know, like, I'm going to, how, you know, just to have to listen to somebody so overtly misdescribe a past that's only that long ago. You know, this guy's discounting 10,000 years of acquired knowledge, which is, you know, probably, you know, it's kind of a bigger crime. But I mean, look, they can't even accurately describe how you can learn from history. They can't even get 10 minutes of it right, let alone 10,000 years of it right.
It's a bunch of assumptions. It's a bunch of inaccurate assumptions.
So that's what the past is. It's a bunch of assumptions. And, you know, clearly I would argue that, yeah, if you took everything for that man said, and therefore he was right, and I believe it, and blah, blah, blah. So if we believe everybody, then it's a bunch of noise. It's meaningless. But clearly we're able to filter the past. We can filter out of the past the dead ends, the silly stories, the cul-de-sacs, the, you know, spinning in circles. We can identify the assholes and the retards and learn from the people who are attempting to do something serious, and especially the ones who, you know, investigated, did the hard work of figuring out why peas are wrinkled and stuff.
And I guess that's why so many cultures devised mythologies, is they're trying to sort of say there are general rules to this.
Well, you can make lots of arguments about what the first mythologies were, because I would argue the first mythologies, some of them were legitimate science. The stars, looking at the stars and seeing if you could find meaning, you know, what was creating what was happening on Earth, and the coincidences, you know, that they would have no explanation for. And it just seems so like we're powerless. There's some bigger thing that's treating us like ants. You know, that kind of thing seems a logical conclusion. But we also know that science created evidence that that isn't what's happening. It explained what thunder and lightning is. It started explaining the forces we were afraid of. Volcanoes didn't volcano because God was unhappy.
You know, Morpheus said this is a system that has rules. Yeah, it has rules, but it's hard to say what they are.
Well, again, so he says something like that, and you're just saying, wow. No, it's really easy to say what they are. That's what they've done over the 10,000 years, is figure out that, yeah, water can be wet, it can be frozen, it can feel cold, it can satisfy your thirst, but it, it can't write your name in green. It, I don't know. Well, that's not even a good example, because I suppose dyed water could do that. But you know what I mean. We understand all the things and the substances. We put them on a periodic table. We can figure out their properties. You know, what they can and can't do. What floats, what sinks, what can fly, what doesn't. I mean, to sit there and say that we haven't described it and that we haven't gotten a ton of accurate information in these descriptions, even to the extent where we can watch our own psychological evolution, in the sense that we can draw a blueprint of what the organism went through to develop its function. The fact that our babies take 2 years to maturate, and that probably has something to do with the acquisition of language and the capacity to optimize our brain space, to use it so efficiently enough to be able to know 2,000 or 10,000 words.
But if you see patterns in it, you can kind of hedge your bets or whatever, or what look like patterns. But what looks like patterns on a micro level might be complete randomness on a macro.
Yeah, right. Everything might not be what it appears to be. We might not really understand that what made Rome Rome, and we might not understand why there's a certain civilization failed. We might not understand the Spaniards show up and completely annihilate Native American culture. No, we can't understand that. Yeah, we can. It's pretty transparent. I mean, it's pretty, you always use that word transparent when it's really just quite opaque. You can see right to it.
So in other words, I can take solid steps to avoid breaking my leg, which might seem to be a pretty rational thing to do, but I pretty much can't do anything to prevent the sun from exploding or...
Well, we know that's not a likelihood, so why would we even worry about that in this context? Billions of years of reliable performance, I guess it's not something we need to worry about that one tomorrow. There's no real evidence that it's doing anything right now to indicate it's got cancer or something and it's going to drop dead. So, your example, we can come up with all kind of pie-in-the-sky imaginary scenarios and have conversations about, well, it could be that everything's really this is just a matrix, and you can do all this fantasy talk, but that's all it is. It's a cartoon, and there's no evidence for it. There's no reason to think it's possible that it's going to be that way or that it is that way. It's just, I can sort of, if I simplify the diagram enough and eliminate enough evidence, I can somehow make that reasonable, when it's completely unreasonable if you obey the evidence. Just as the religious theories start to lose their reasonableness, when you start digging up Tyrannosauruses.
Even myself from getting cancer. I can hedge my bets. I quit smoking 11 years ago.
Well, actually, that won't do you much good if you smoke more than 20 years. If you smoke more than 20 years, then your cancer risk is almost the same, whether you quit or not. That's one of the big cheats of this whole campaign against smoking. Is, they're not doing anybody. If anybody who smoked more than 25 years, they're not doing them one goddamn bit of good except for harassing them, stealing their rights, being fascist cunts, because they're not going to make them live any longer.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to get cancer. I'm not really sure that we're, the difference is, I guess, what do we want versus what is real.
Yeah, see, that's, no, the thing is what do we want versus how the game is played, which is to have what you want, the pawns all die. To have what you want, the future gets soiled. That's the truth of it. There's big piles of shit in the chair that the future's going to sit in to have what you want, which is a freer ride. You want to put it on somebody else's credit card. Well, to do that, you have to bankrupt somebody else. Yeah, now, these are the rules. You don't get your free lunch anywhere here at all. And if you don't personally pay for it, somebody else is going to pay for it. The animals you torture, for example. Not that complicated a game, really. I'll keep saying that. It's not really that complicated. The game, looked at, is not that complicated. Evolution's a simple concept. Pain, pleasure, simple concept. And the fact that most of it's just made out of, as you just described, the threats. Well, if I get rid of the blowing up sun threat, that's a good. If I get rid of the cancer threat, that's a good. If I get rid of the blah, 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 that's a good. And then I can take more control. Because something else isn't imposing on me. So quit being an imposer seems to be part of the good guy theme here. Don't impose. Especially when you totally don't need to. Yeah, when it's not a matter of life and death, or not really a matter of comfort even. It's just a matter of, you know, avarice and greed. You're taking more than you really need. If you think you need to create living things, because you really don't. Alright, back to the fakie, I guess.
Me, Gary, I don't know what game you're trying to play.
Ah, interesting that you would use that word when you... Again, the game you're playing is the obvious one. I'm just saying, it's just kind of obvious that I haven't mischaracterized your desperate position and your desperate effort to claim a truth that you don't want to say in explicit words. Again, when you turn Torture Planet into Masochist Planet, okay, what you're doing is obvious to anyone who can do any kind of thing called reasoning. You're trying to cheat. Duh.
These are pathetic straw man fallacies.
It's a pathetic straw man fallacy that you're not attempting to cheat the statements made, that you're not attempting to put words in my mouth. Not the other way around. You're attempting to say that somehow I didn't account for some sort of reality, when no, I did account for it. It's not included in the thought experiment. It wasn't included because it would be ludicrous. Yeah, so that's why it wasn't included. It wasn't missing by some omission on my part that it's Masochist Planet. No, that wasn't included because that's not part of the equation. It's not part of reality. I'm not a masochist. Whatever pain I experience, I don't enjoy.
That are obvious. You know, I never said any of those things, Gary.
Yes, you did.
Now I also want to...
I mean, you can say things in deeds. You know, you could almost argue, and you certainly gave what was stated the finger by quote mining it and perverting it, and that's all you did. You either changed it or you mined the context out of it.
Clear up a few incorrect statements that you made about me. I guess we'll call it a little fact-checking. You said that I used my girlfriend, Oceanavani, against you in this debate. Well, Oceanavani is not my girlfriend.
Well, I know that. It's your ex-girlfriend. I mean, I stated kind of clearly, I stated that you're alone. Now it appears. You said you had a family the other day, and I, you know, kind of speculated. Did you just talk to your family when you gave away your last $1,000? What kind of family is this? You have a family of fleas or something? I mean, what family do you give away your last $1,000? And they all say, swell. Okay, Daddy.
We broke up several years ago. I think you're aware of that.
I know. You know I'm aware of it because I stated the things that indicate my awareness of it. So there's just, like, absolutely no point in even debating it, yet now you're bringing it up as if this is a real subject. This is no real subject. This is completely a fake subject. There's no dispute here. I know that you broke up. You know that you broke up. This is known truth.
We're still friends, but we're not romantically involved in any way. And, you know, the reason that I brought her into this debate is that I'm...
Because you seem obsessed, and, you know, it seems like I guess, you know, she's the one that said, I've had enough or something, because you seem the one kind of wallowing in some lament. Yeah, some kind of thing like that. You still have her on a pretty high pedestal, it seems, because you're kind of forcing me to look up there, and I'm like, well, you know, yeah, she was okay, but, you know. God? No, I don't think so.
grasping at straws to find your soul, Gary. You know, I'm
right. You're the one grasping at modified orthodoxy, and you're going to point a finger at me grasping when I've had the same. I've been holding the same club of understanding since I was 12 years old. What am I grasping for? It's so part of me. I don't even have to hold on to it anymore because it's kind of stuck there. No grasping required here.
Searching desperately for some vestige of humanity in you.
Well, whatever. That's your problem, once again. Frankly, you know, as I've described the human game of, well, let's screw our children. Let's even kill some of them for our entertainment. You know, we love football, so let's paralyze and kill some of our kids for it. Yeah, it's really fun. You know, and then we'll have other sports that sentences our kids to ignorance and stupidity and uselessness in society because they'll try so hard to win the lottery ticket we keep dangling in front of them. Professional sports athlete hero, you can be Michael Jordan too if you win the 1 in 6 million billion lottery. No. Yeah, that's really nice. Humans are wonderfully charming devices. So if somebody could actually say, I have no humanity in me, I'm probably going to say, wow, I am winning. You know, I've done really well to scrub all that crap out of me. I'm like stainless steel or something. It's cool. Can't make no shit stick to me. Not in a hard way.
And you know, if it seems cynical for me to use emotional arguments...
It seems manipulative and, yeah, just so fucking old fakey sagany of you. Yeah, it seems like just a little bit of trick. You know, let's pretend that there's something sacred in the conversation, so now the conversation is real, even though it's the same old manipulation. Gary, talk about your personal life in some respect. If I can get you into your personal life, then I can use it against you. And that's all you did. You did a cliche, you know, tell me about your life so I can attack you as a messenger. And I can ignore the message. That's the game you played. And you used ocean, you know, as your Trojan horse. You know, the thing you're supposed to have some respect for, the thing way up on the pedestal, you know, you used as a you know, a carnival device. Oof.
That way, then so be it. But there's no low to which I won't sink.
Exactly. So yeah, we should just leave. Right. I should just quote that, you know, mine that, and just say that's. Apparently that is so. I guess that's what those assault and battery charges are. How many of the women that you punched were women? Yeah, you know. I'll ask you know, when was the last time you beat your girlfriend? Funny. Anyway, I don't know. Let's do a little more Anaconda, and then we'll call it a video. And I'll try to just play these idiotic videos and take notes, but it's just such a pile of shit. You're just like, why bother? I mean, there's no way. There's never going to be, well, I can't say never, but I mean, the unwillingness the two descriptions of what the game is on planet Earth are too foreign to each other. They have way too many fantasy characters running around for it to have any meaning to the game I'm saying we're really playing, where there is no fairy princess.
And how do you determine that which is real? I would say that I determine that which is real
by rubbing my nose on it and seeing if it smells good. It seems to me that's about all you do. Thinking, no, I don't think about it.
By going from that which I can create, or I can be pretty sure of, be pretty solid. Again, my own existence. I hate to sort of...
Yeah, again, so I hate to sort of be insane, but yeah, I'm just going to be basically saying that, all you people I'm talking to, I'm not too sure you exist. The only thing I know is I need stuff. But I don't even think you exist enough to need anything, really. And certainly those future people, fuck that. No matter where I rub my nose, I can't smell them for the life of me. So, yeah, I don't think they're real. That's all he's saying.
Belabor this, but my epistemology works differently from the way...
Yeah, it's like saying you're a colon. It sounds like that's where you're getting your knowledge from, not the past.
I think a lot of people's do. Certainly the most common one in the West is kind of empiricist or whatever. But I go with what I'm...
Me first. That's all. Yeah, I go with what is completely the marching band song thing of the idiocracy, which is me first, fuck you and me first, fuck you, fuck me first, me first.
Sure, I know I exist. Even if I don't know what existence is, I know that I am. Cogito ergo sum, right?
Yeah, no, whatever. Cogito, yeah, I'll just say it in a foreign language and that'll make it sound like it's profound and meaningful when all you're saying is me first. Oh yeah, it's such a... wow. Inspired. Yeah, that's... bugs are saying that. Yeah, when they're going like chirp, 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 they're saying me first, me first, me first. That's what bugs do.
I can't prove any of that, but...
frankly, I'm watching your video. I really don't need you to prove you exist. I've never seen somebody actually be, but not really be. I haven't been, Max Headroom or whatever. He wasn't all that convincing as a fake person. I was pretty sure he was kind of based on a real person, so it wasn't even that fake. I wasn't... so where am I getting fooled by the ghosts that aren't real? Where's the chance that there's... hey, that person's a non-person. They don't really feel. They're one of those synthetic things. Yeah. Like from the movies. Is that how I'm supposed to go through life, is having some doubt? I don't think there's any reason to doubt. No reason whatsoever. Just absolutely no reason whatsoever not to take every chimpanzee blah, 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 and say, yes, it's a chimpanzee, it's feeling blah, and it's, making the blah gesture because it feels the blah, 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 blah emotion. And no reason for me to say, that doesn't exist. No reason whatsoever. Ear puribus luminum. Uminum bottom sapotamen. No reason to turn into a foreign language when you're just saying, me important, you not so important. Not for any good reason except it's really convenient if I have this philosophy, okay? It turns out that I win a lot if I basically just think about me. And I don't consider the fact that, the other people have needs that are important. It's, I can drive faster if I don't worry about them. I can drive drunker. I can do almost anything if I don't worry about them. Yeah, it just makes it so much easier to take care of me. Profound. So this is what people, they travel the world and get all kinds of nice little hats and all that kind of shit, and this is what they end up with as a philosophy. It's like the mystic. He has all kinds of little hats, been around the world, been, you know, lived the life of the rich and famous, well, as a butler anyway, and yet that's the best he can do. What's in it for me? Is there some other gesture I'm supposed to make? It's just, what do you say? I mean, I can't say a word because I could say ludicrous or insane. I could say fucktarded, but they're not nearly good enough words to describe this insanity. Alright. So, enough for now. And like I said, I'll try to, I mean, I'm only a quarter of the way through both these videos, and it's like 12 hours ago or whatever. It's like they're going to be 2 days old, and I still haven't been able to play them through. Because you just want to say, oh, fuck this shit. Anyway, till next time and such.